Well, hello. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Heather McIntosh. I am the newly voted in co-president of the Alliance for Women Film Composers, and this is our first event, along with Allison Newman, as a fellow co-composer. We're really excited about this panel today, where we're going to learn about the World Soundtrack Academy and the WSA Awards submission process. So I'm going to go ahead and let Chandler take it from here and do the formal introductions, and let's just go ahead and dive in. Thanks so much for being here.
Yeah, thanks so much for having me. My name is Chandler Poling from White Bear PR, and I am, I guess, one of the founding members of the Alliance for Women Film Composers. So I haven't been on a Zoom with you guys in a while, but it's great to be back. And I am happy to moderate this event. I've been to the World Soundtrack Awards multiple times. And yeah, so on this panel with me, I have Witte, the World Soundtrack Academy Program Director, and Hanne Schelstraete, the World Soundtrack Academy Music Department Head. So welcome to both of you. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes. Now, Wim, I understand you have like a presentation that you want to kind of show us all. So I have questions for you guys, but I might as well save those to the end because you might answer my questions in your presentation. So I feel like we should just jump right into it, and you can kind of give us the rundown of what the World Soundtrack Academy is all about.
Thank you so much, Chandler. Thank you so much, Heather, for having us. It's very nice to be able to introduce the World Soundtrack Academy and the World Soundtrack Awards, which is an annual event that we host here in Ghent, Belgium, at the Filmfest Ghent. It's part of the film festival that will have its 50th edition this year. The World Soundtrack Awards ceremony will be the 23rd edition this year. And indeed, I have a small presentation that I will try to share right now. I hope you're seeing the presentation right now. So the World Soundtrack Academy grew within the organization of the Film Festival Ghent, a festival that started in the 70s. Which was started by one of the cinemas here in Ghent, and it grew out into Belgium's, I think, most prominent annual film festival. First of all, I have a small video that we would like to show to you, which gives you a bit of an idea. It's actually a small video that we made last year after the 22nd edition of the World Soundtrack Awards events. Let me quickly show you this.
De rencontrer des gens, de parler avec d'autres compositeurs, c'est toujours très enrichissant, et ça a été très enrichissant pour moi.
And extremely happy to be here with not only these great professionals, but also some legends, people like Mark Isham and Bruno Coulet and Anita Desai. They always have something to say that can resonate to you.
Being in a room with so many incredible composers, and as the show was going on today, the level of music was just mind-blowing. It just humbled me to say, wow, what are we doing in a room like this?
It was spectacular. This is a great, great symphony orchestra, one of the best I've ever worked with, so it's a real treat.
It's been a real honor, and I think the World Soundtrack Awards has been just a real highlight of our careers.
Couldn't get any better.
It's great. I mean, yeah, it's a great feeling.
But we're going to be back next year or so.
That was oops, and now it starts again. Here we are. So the World Soundtrack Academy, the aim of the Academy is to support the art of film music through awards, but also through concerts, through educational, professional activities, networking events that we each year host during our festival. Our festival is always in October. It starts the second Tuesday of October, and the World Soundtrack Awards, Film Music Days, and the concerts are towards the end of the festival, the last few days of the festival itself. The idea, the mission of the festival is to support emerging and established composers for the screen. We do this with these events, with giving out awards. They're peer-to-peer awards, so it's the composers who choose most of the winners. It's the Film Festival Executive Board that each year also invites composers for a Lifetime Achievement Award. And this year we'll have actually two recipients for this award. It will be one will be the Italian composer Nicola Piovani, and the other one is we just announced it today, is the American composer Lawrence Rosenthal. They will be both in Ghent, and we will perform music of these composers during the concert. I'll tell you a bit more about the actual concerts that we will have this year as well. The history of the World Soundtrack Academy and the World Soundtrack Awards. So the festival was started in the 70s, and very soon we started with organizing concerts. There's just before us there's a classical music festival that is also held in Ghent, and so they are mainly focusing on classical music. And there was this idea mid-80s to organize events with film music and screenings of films, first with classical music by Schelstraete and stuff like that, but also highlighting the work of composers. And we had in the 90s composers like Georges Delrue, very famous French composer who used to work a lot with François Truffaut, but also Ennio Morricone was a guest 2 times at our festival for concerts. And then in 2000, we were the first event to host a concert with the music for Hans Zimmer. And that was really the starting point of the World Soundtrack Academy. The idea grew there. A lot of people of the industry came over to Ghent to see this concert from America, and that's where the idea grew to establish such an academy and have awards each year presented at the festival. In 2001, so the year after this Hans Zimmer concert, was the first edition of the World Soundtrack Awards ceremony. It's the ceremony is both a concert where we celebrate music, where we perform music performed by a symphonic orchestra, Brussels Philharmonic, so a symphonic orchestra. Most of the times we also have soloists making the music, and we have this. We have had this great opportunity to welcome a lot of composers throughout the years in Ghent to celebrate their music. We also each year publish an album of the music that is performed. This year we will be, in August, we will be recording an album with the music by Lawrence Rosenthal. Both his film scores and a selection of his television scores that he did. But of course, we're mainly here to tell you about the awards and how to apply for these awards and how you can become a member of the Academy. And I think, Hanne, you will take it from here. As for the, let me just try to get the next slide. Oh no! First I'll tell you a bit about the Film Music Days for this year in the 2023 edition. We will have 2 symphonic concerts. One will be on Thursday, October 19th, which will focus on music from video games. It's the first time we're doing this. Title of the concert is Press Play Music in Games. The program is we're working on the program as we speak these last few days and the upcoming days. Part of the program is also curated by American composer Austin Wintory, who will also be the host of this concert. We will have the actual World Soundtrack Awards Gala on Saturday, October 21st. And throughout these, so from Thursday until Saturday, we'll also have the film music industry events, which will have panels, networking events, masterclasses by the attending composers. Another program that we do, but which is spread throughout the whole festival, is a program called Videodrome, which hosts a lot of concerts with non-symphonic music. So, and this year we will be having a concert by, it's not been announced yet, so it's a bit early perhaps to tell you about this, but I think all is there to have it confirmed in the next few days. Colin Stetson will give a concert, and Aiko Ishibashi, who was the Discovery Award winner of last year, Japanese composer who made music for Drive My Car by Hamaguchi. She will return. She will be part of the World Soundtrack Awards concert, but we will also be hosting another special program, a new film by Hamaguchi with live music by Aiko Ishibashi as part of this Videodrome program. And now I give the floor to Hanne to tell you all about the World Soundtrack Awards itself.
Yes, so I will, as Wim said, dive into the more practical side of being a World Soundtrack Award Academy member, because as you may know, our submissions opened last Monday, and we're planning this meeting now because we'd love to have some submissions from you as well. We'd really appreciate that. So I will go over different awards that we have, explain them, and explain what kind of scores or songs are eligible for these awards. You see a whole list, but the first four are the most important because these are the awards for which the World Soundtrack Academy members can submit and later on vote. So I will explain you more about Film Composer of the Year, Television Composer of the Year, Best Original Song, and Discovery of the Year. To start, there are some general eligibility criteria that apply to all of these four awards, irrespective of what kind of award it is. And they are very general. Like, for example, that only the principal composer can be submitted, and that only original scores can be submitted. But also something really important, being that we have an eligibility period which runs from the 16th of June 2022 until the 15th of June 2023, and all submissions should have had a premiere during these periods. Now I will go into more specific details about the awards and the submissions. One of our major awards is the award for Film Composer of the Year, and this is an award not presented not to one score, but to a body of work created by one composer or a group of several composers, and they made several scores during the eligibility periods for films that were released during the eligibility periods. And these films must have had a countrywide theatrical release or must have had a release on one of the major film festivals. Only this year, also streaming services like Netflix, like HBO, are eligible, and this is because of the impact of COVID on the film industry. The second major award is for Television Composer of the Year, and it's kind of similar because it's also for a body of work that's one composer or several composers together made during the eligibility periods. But this time it doesn't apply to films, but to series, to dramatic series that premiered on a streaming service or on paid television, something like that. I'll go over to our third awards, which I'd like to discuss with you, and that's the award for Best Original Song. So For this award, songs are eligible, songs that have been written in collaboration with the producing of the film itself. And this applies to both fiction films, to documentaries, and to series. So it applies to three kinds of visual material. And in case of a fiction film or in case of a documentary, this film must have had a theatrical release already or a release on a film festival. If we're talking about series, then again, the series must have had a premiere on a streaming service, on a paid television, and all during the eligibility periods. And then maybe a last point, but maybe needless to say, the song must be in the film. It must be audible, it must be significant. It can be the first song at the end when the titles come, but it must be significant in the film. I'll go over to the last award for which World Soundtrack Academy members can submit. And this is the Discovery of the Year Award. It's an award for a score that has been written for a feature-length fiction film or a documentary that was released during the eligibility periods. And again, I'm not going to repeat myself, but here I am doing it. The film must have had a theatrical release, a release on a film festival. But what's more important to say is that this award is meant for young composers. If you look back on the history of the World Soundtrack Awards, you see that composers that are now well-established names like Nicholas Britell or Bryce Dessner or even Eiko Ishibashi, who you can see on the picture here, once received the Discovery of the Year Award, and it was a big step forward in their career paths. So this award is very special to us. And with young composers, we mean that a composer is only eligible if he or she hasn't made more than 5 feature-length fiction films. So if you've made more, we don't consider you to be young.
Perhaps we also have to tell that part of this award is also that you are invited back the year afterwards to be part of the concert itself. So like we told you, Eiko Ishibashi won last year, so she will be back performing some of the music that she made the past 2 years.
Yes, that's right. Thank you. So as I said, submissions are open now. They opened Monday and will be open until the 15th of June. And if you are a World Soundtrack Academy member, then you can submit for Song of the Year, for television composer, for film composer. That's a privilege that's only for Academy members. For the Discovery of the Year Award, everybody can submit, but the advantage for WSA members is that they get to submit without free of charge. Normally there's a fee, but if you submit as an Academy member and the person you're submitting is also an Academy member, then you don't have to pay this fee. Once the submissions are open, the voting starts. That's in a few months in July, but I already would like to tell you that, again, there as a member, you can vote for film, TV, for song, and you can vote as well for 2 other awards that we have, the Public Choice Awards and our very first Game Music Awards. We're very excited about the whole game program, and these 2 awards are open for the public, so everybody gets to vote, which means that you can vote as well. What's next? Yes, maybe the most important question after this whole introduction is why you should become a member, why you can become a member. Because as I've said, you have this submission privilege, you have this voting privilege. You can submit for the Discovery of the Year awards without a fee. But maybe one of the most important things is that, as Wim said, we have this Film Music Days during the festival. We have a whole industry program with panels, with talks, with a dinner, with concerts, with networking moments. And if you are a member, you get a great discount on the industry packages. Yeah, and it makes a big difference then. Some last reasons to become a member is that you, as you may have seen already, be visible on our website. This can broaden your network, and you get to meet new people, publicists, agents, other film composers, and it's really great to always learn new people and cross their paths. If you, after this, think, sounds nice, if you are interested, you can always go to our website. We've put a link here, but it's not difficult to find. On the worldsoundtrackawards.com, you can find all the information that I've just said about the awards, about the submissions, about the industry program, but you can also find information on how to register. And because we really love this collaboration with the Alliance for Women Film Composers, and we'd really appreciate it if we could invite you to Ghent, if we could get submissions from all of you. There is a 50% discount this year, both for composers and professionals. So we really hope you'll join us. Wim, do you want to add something?
No, that was briefly, I think, the presentation that we prepared, and I think we now are open to any of your questions that you might have after all this.
Well, so I can jump in with some questions that I have prepared. You guys broke down obviously a lot of what the Academy does and offers and everything. Do you want to talk a little bit about the Young Composer Contest? Because I know there's a submission for Young Composer. I don't know if that was specifically for Europeans or if that's also worldwide.
Oh, it's worldwide, yes. And this year, because of the first ever video game concert, we chose a clip together with Austin Wintory, a clip from one of the games that he scored the music to, Abzu. So we asked composers to make music for this clip. The applications are open now. And Hanne, you can tell perhaps when they close. And
yeah,
can you guys close or stop sharing your screen in the meantime, just so we move over to our faces.
Yeah, it looks great. The deadline for the competition contest is the 17th of May. So we still have some weeks to go.
And are there parameters on that, or anybody can submit for it?
No, there's an age limit to it.
I don't know it by heart.
So, well, either way, people can go onto the website and learn more about it. But yes, so there is an age limit to it. But if you are a younger composer and you want to participate in this contest, the top 3 or is it top 5 get chosen to have their music performed at the concert, and then a winner is announced, if I recall. Yeah. Is that still the process?
That's still the process, and it's for composers under the age of 36 that are invited to write the score. And indeed, so there's a jury, and Austin will be part of this jury this year that selects the 3 nominees that are invited to the festival also to come to Ghent, and then we perform these 3 pieces of music, and then the winner is announced during the concert. Yes.
Wonderful. Well, I'll ask a question from the chat because I see it from Peter Hackman. For the Discovery of the Year submission, what is the registration fee if somebody's going to submit on their composer's behalf?
We have two submission fees. One is a early bird submission fee, and that's 35 and
Euros. Yeah.
euros. Yeah, I'm sorry, it's not in dollar. And then afterwards, it's 45.
Okay.
So that's when you're not an Academy member.
And what are the submission requirements for Discovery of the Year? Because I understand that it's more than just submitting your name. You have to submit materials.
Yeah, you have to submit a screening link for the jury to see the movie. You have to submit the scores, a selection of moments that you'd like to show to the jury, a biography, some more personal details. But it's more than a submission for Best Film Composer of the Year, for example.
And what would an experience be like if somebody's coming to the festival for the first time ever? So let's say they buy a package online and they need to know how do they get to Ghent? What is the festival like, and what can they expect?
Ghent is just half an hour away from Brussels by trains, or we have a car service that could pick you up either in Brussels or in Lille, which is a train station close by. If you come, for example, from London, where the Eurostar stops. You come to Ghent. So on Thursday, the World Soundtrack Film Music Days will start. Those will be mainly talks with composers. One of the focuses that we have there and that we try to do is show best practices of creative partnerships between a director and a filmmaker. So last year we were very happy to welcome David Lowery and Daniel Hart, and they talked about their collaboration in one of these panels. Another panel, you saw a clip from that in the introduction film, was with a Belgian editor, Nico Leunen, who also edited a few American films like Ad Astra, for example. He worked twice with a composer, Johnny Jewel, so he invited him, and they talked about how an editor, a director, because Fien Troch, a Belgian director, was there that worked with Johnny Jewel, and the film was edited by Nico Leunen. So they talked about their process. There are various talks, masterclasses, a lot of networking events. Some are organized, matchmaking, where you could try to meet up with people who are there, other Academy members. We have this World Soundtrack Award dinner, which is I think the main networking event, because it's on Friday night, so just prior to the World Soundtrack Awards concert. Most of the guests will have arrived at that time. So on a Thursday we have this video game concert, and on Saturday there's the World Soundtrack Awards ceremony.
And who are some of your typical guests that come in for this event? Is it just a bunch of composers, or is there all sorts of people from the industry?
So it is composers, but of course a lot of people from the industry as well, publicists, agents. We try to attract also with these creative partnership talks to have more directors attending. It's a film festival, so some of the directors that are there to present their film will also be present at these industry events and at the World Soundtrack Awards dinner. So it's a mix of, but I would say mainly people involved in film music.
Fantastic. If other people have questions, please drop them in the chat, or you can pop up on screen if you feel so bolden to do so, but I will continue to ask my question. Thomas has a question.
I have two questions, and you might I just want to clarify a bit, because I think a lot of our members will be interested in the Discovery of the Year Awards and the eligibility, because Hanne said only if they have scored 5 films or less. I just want to clarify that a bit, or if you could please, that those 5 films are not necessarily, if they were only in the UK, then they don't count because it's 2 countries or more. So if you can clarify, because every year we get those questions, how does it work with films that were at a film festival, or if a film was only in one country in a movie theater? So because it might open up to some members if we clarify that.
Yeah, of course. So I said that you're only eligible when you've made no more than 5 films, and with that I mean feature-length fiction films. So if you made short films, if you scored video games, documentaries, that all doesn't count for these 5 films. And the second thing, as Thomas said, a film only counts for this list of 5 films when it's released in 2 countries or more. So when you scored a film and it's only released in the UK or where you live, then that doesn't count for your 5 films. I hope this is more clarifying.
Yes. And I also understand. Oh, go ahead, Thomas. You have another question?
No. I had a second question then. No, but also, I think, what we realize is also, the World Soundtrack Academy, if it's unclear, the WSA is always very happy to answer the question. So if a composer is not sure, am I above 5, below 5, does it qualify? You can always ask also.
Yeah, you can definitely always send me an email and I'll check it for you, which films qualify and which don't.
Yeah, and Peter,
does festivals qualify then? If a film was at Cannes, does that count as, that makes it eligible also at Berlin? I think there's several festivals that are also make it eligible, right?
Yeah, we have a list of the festivals. It's in our rule book. There's this organization which is called the FIAP, which recognizes some of the festivals worldwide. So those festivals that are recognized by the FIAP are the ones: Cannes, Berlin, Venice, Toronto, stuff like that. And then we added a few other major festivals that are not members of this FIAP organization. Those are all, if your film is selected there, then that counts as a release.
Yeah, maybe if we send this recording to the members, we can also send a rule book with it, because that's always very clear in what eligibility criteria are, for example, for the Discovery Award.
And if you have questions during your submission, or if you feel like you might be on the cusp of something, always just ask directly, because Hanne can determine, by committee if something is eligible or not. Because I believe commercial releases on like home video also count towards the 5. So just to kind of be aware of all the different ways that movies come out. It's not necessarily just specifically in a movie theater. So my next question was about matchmaking, because I know you guys host matchmaking for people to meet other professionals. If somebody was interested in participating, how do they go about that?
I've never been at a matchmaking session, so maybe it's better for Wim to answer.
We should tell also to the other people that Hanne is replacing Sophie, who just gave birth to her first son, Louis. And so Hanne started 2 weeks ago to replace Sophie. So yeah, we have these matchmaking events also at the festival. If you come to the festival, then we will give you the list of all the people attending, and on these matchmaking moments, we will give you the opportunity to choose the people who you would like to talk to, and then we have this. We organize these talks.
And I think for clarity, when it comes to the submission for Film Composer of the Year, you're submitting your body of work. But if you have a co-composer that you wrote a separate film with, that's a separate entry. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
That's a separate submission.
Right. So if you're a composer, you've done a bunch of solo work, you could fit that in, but then you can talk to your co-composer and you can submit that. Or sometimes people co-compose multiple projects and that can
Mhm.
be something together. But yeah, they are viewed as different entities overall in
Yeah.
film, TV, and song, I imagine.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah.
Wonderful. And I'm trying to think if there was anything else I specifically had questions about. I think it's important to understand the social aspect of the festival as well. You know, when you go, you get to, as you said, network and meet people, all different types of professionals. These are done through the dinner and whatnot, but also just through the nature of everybody being in the small town of Ghent, because you know it's quite easy to bump into your colleagues in the hotel or in the streets and everything. So I think it's important to kind of just express that there is it's a great social networking opportunity overall for professionals in film music. You mentioned the video game concert. Did we talk about, is there a video game award being presented, or is there anything new that can be discussed about the award ceremony?
Yes, there is a video game award for the first time, but that awards will not be presented during the World Soundtrack Awards concert gala on the last evening, but will be presented at the video game concerts. And it's an audience awards. So in collaboration, we make a list of 100 film titles. No, 100 video game music titles. And everybody can bring up their votes. So not only Academy members, but also the wider audience. And then we don't choose, we look who has the most votes, and that's the audience award winner.
Which is the same procedure for the audience award within the for film music as well.
Yeah, and as Wim said, we also have the competition contest, which is for the first time about video game music.
Question just came up. Best original song, I think you mean Peter. Is the best original song only for a song with vocals? Just curious if instrumental songs would count as a song submission.
That's a good question. I wouldn't have an immediate answer. I think it's with
No.
vocals, right?
I have been thinking about this exact question for the last week. I'll write down who the question wrote, and I'll send a message with the answer once I find it out.
Yes. Yes, Peter, you've stumped us. Do you guys have a slide from your presentation with your contact information if anyone has questions, or should they go through the website, or how, if anybody has questions about submissions moving forward, what's the best way to reach you?
You can reach us at info@worldsoundtrackawards.com. It's also on the website. We also have a contact form on the website, and I check it daily, so it will be received.
Wonderful, excellent. And then, is there anything happening this year at the festival that is exciting for you that you can't wait for it to happen?
Well, actually, as to the film festival, film programming itself, most of the very important moment there in programming is the Cannes Film Festival. So after the Cannes Film Festival, a lot of things will start happening and get confirmed for the festival. And we will be announcing that in the next few days, actually, because this year we will be celebrating the 50th edition of the festival. We have this what we hope will be a wonderful project. We asked last year we asked 25 composers to compose a short cue music for us of about 1 to 2 minutes, and now we reached out to 25 directors to be inspired by this music and to make a short film on this. And this is a project that we will be announcing the names of the composers who made music and the filmmakers who confirmed in the next few days. and then we hope to premiere these films somewhere September online, and then actually at the festival, of course, as well. And we hope to have a lot of guests, a lot of composers. Perhaps you should also talk a bit about the Industry Award, because of course the Industry Award was the reason why we are here. Last year's Industry Award went to the Alliance, and we had the pleasure to welcome Catherine at the festival, that we presented the award. This award, the Industry Award, is also an award which is chosen by the board members and the executive board of the World Soundtrack Awards Academy.
Very exciting. I'm so happy that you guys created that award, and I'm glad that it went to the Alliance. That's a wonderful inauguration of that award as far as last year's launch of it. Question came up in the chat is, if somebody wanted to attend, do they need a full package, or are there individual tickets to various functions?
To the concerts, the ticket sales is open already at this stage, so that's of course open to the audience as well. You can buy tickets for that. If you want to attend all the more social events, the networking dinner, for example, that's only for people who bought the package, or the nominees and stuff like that. But of course, the panels, the concerts, they are open to the public. The concerts are already on sale. The panels will be announced, I think it will be towards the summer, and then we will also start the sales on that.
Yeah, but you can really personalize your industry package. If you want to have local transport and a hotel and the whole industry program, you can choose that. You can also choose just to have the industry program and find out where you stay yourself. You can choose between all those options, so there's not one package that you have to accept.
And then I got a question as well that is asking about the composition contest. They went on the website, they saw that there's a fee with it, and they want to know, is there anything that they can enter that does not come with a fee?
For the composition contest?
For the composition contest, yes.
It's with a fee, right, Wim?
Yeah, that's with a fee. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think the answer is no, that that's not an opportunity. I believe most competitions at festivals have a fee requirement, but there is no fee to submit your work for Film Composer of the Year and TV Composer of the Year and whatnot. But the competition, I believe, yeah, it has a standing fee.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. I really appreciate you guys taking this time to talk about the World Soundtrack Awards and Academy, and I hope everybody got a good sense of the reasons why to become a member. I think they outlined a lot of great reasons why. You know, it's a wonderful wonderful organization to be a part of, and I've been a member for a long time, and you know, I love the act of voting as well. I think that's really exciting to be able to participate in you know, choosing who get these awards. So if you guys want to be a part of that decision body, you know, join just for that reason, if not all the other reasons that they kind of outlined.
What we did not talk about is the city of Ghent. I think that's also an attractive thing, but I'm from Ghent, so I'm a bit biased.
Yes, I've been
we have Belgian chocolate, we have Belgian beer, we have a lot of nice things that you should discover here next to all the film music events that we organize.
Yeah, there's lots of reasons to go to Belgium, and Ghent is definitely one of them. So I definitely have participated in all the chocolate and beer out there. So it's a delicious place to be for sure. And the city of Ghent is magical. It's beautiful. And as you saw in those photos that they were showing you, the concerts are in beautiful venues. You have the industry dinner and what I like to call Hogwarts, because it's just so beautiful and it feels like just an old magical building. So yeah, anyways, I hope everybody gets a chance to go. I see Gorka popped on the screen. I know he's been there many times, so I'm sure you'll see him there as well.
And I totally recommend it to everyone, so please go. You should. Yeah. You're not gonna regret it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hope to welcome you in Ghent in October.
Yeah, and thank you so much for having us. It was really
Yes,
nice
thank you so much.
talking
Such
to
a
you.
pleasure.